Hi guys, it's Ray. Today we are going to play with the Vintaj Patina Inks. These are a mashup with Vintage and the Ranger brand. That's who produces these. So I have quite a few of them now. These ones are pearls. I'm not going to use them today. All I'm going to use is the rose gold metallic, the white gold metallic, I think this is what I'm going to use. I may throw in some of the verdigris color, but I'm going to use the turquoise primarily. And these you do need to shake really well. You can hear they have the BB in them. This is going to be take 2 of this tutorial. I already did this one and lost all of the footage. This I did go over with some gold alcohol ink because I didn't have any metallics at that point. So, shaking them really well. I don't know, I have a piece of sandpaper over here. I don't need it. This cup, all I did to prep it was sand it down. And this is a camper mug from Maker Flow. So, I'm going to squirt some out on here. This is just a backer to vinyl, so it's like non-slip. And I am wearing gloves because, like all inks, you will get grubby if you're not careful. And I'm just painting the light blue on to start. There's no prep to this. You don't paint it white or anything. You can just work right over the metal if you want, because these are designed to work over metal. It's their intended purpose. There is this is a little linty from whatever I dried it with. There is a extender and sealer. You don't necessarily need that for tumblers because you're going to seal it anyways. Mostly the sealer would be for, I'm going to come in with a little bit of the darker blue. Mostly the sealer would be for, say a metal that was going to oxidize and change after you were done. That's when you'd want to have your metal sealed. And I do have a decal in mind for this. I am going to get that printed off and get that one finished up. This I don't really have a plan for yet. So I may not finish this one on this video. And I am working on a cup with a handle, so it's going to be slightly more challenging because it always is when you have a handle to work around. But these do dry relatively quickly, and once they're dry, they're dry. They're not like a regular like alcohol ink where you can get ink on it or alcohol on it and it'll loosen back up. When they dry, and you can sand it off if you need to. So making sure I get the inside of the handle. Okay. So I had, let's see if I can get this brush loosened up again. I had the blue and the green on this one previously. But I'm just going to just streak some of that in there. And I'm not sure how the rose gold is going to work on this. I had originally in my head I had like watercolor flowers I was going to put on here. So that's why I was thinking the rose gold, because the flowers had pink in them. This is why we're wearing gloves. Like all inks, they will stain you. And I'm going to get some more of this one out as well. I'm just going to come up the handle a little bit. You will get fuller coverage with the second coat, and they will blend while they're wet. So any blending you want to do, you should really do before it's fully dry. I'm going to give it a good shake again. I was hoping that maybe by using the lighter blue, I would be able to just water slide over it and they would stand out enough. So I'm working on that side of the room. I have a hard time staying in frame on. I have to work much further out from my body where the stand on this side of the room is, and I tend to forget. Do make sure you get the underside of your handle. You don't want that to be plain. Bring some more of that blue in, the verdigris. And go over the bottom again. All right, I need a little bit more of my lighter color. Shaking it again. It says it's a turquoise, but it's really just a very, very pale color. And I'm just looking to see how my coverage is. I don't want stainless showing through, really. This is another one of those, if I look in the viewfinder, what I'm seeing is very different than what the viewfinder's seeing, so I'm not sure how the color is going to look on the finished video until I get to play it back in a bit. Okay, so I'm going to quick shake these up again. And put a little bit of the white gold down. And I'm going to see what a little bit of the rose gold looks like. Looks very pretty on the paper. So I'm just going to, oh, I like the white gold. I'm just going to go over it and blend some of that gold in. The side of that. And see, I think this is a clean brush or clean enough. I'll pick up some of that rose gold and see how that looks. Oh, that's super pretty too. Okay. Definitely going to work some of that in. Right over and right next to some of the other color. I think it needs some more of that. Might have been too much. I'm just going to kind of brush over till it's dry. Alright, so I think I might come back in with a tiny bit of the verdigris. Just to break some of that up again. It ended up blending a lot of that out in the first place, so I'm just going to pick up my brush from my lighter color again and kind of feather over the entire thing, just to blend it all again. Alright, so I'm actually going to stop monkeying with this one because I like it as is. I'm going to get my tops on so I don't mix them up. So, that's it. That rustic patina type look. I'm going to let it sit this way and dry fully. I'm going to get my decal ready for this one. I am going to put a white paint splotch on where the decal is going to go on this one because I'm going to do a clear vinyl, so I want it to show. But I'll be back when I'm ready to get resin on this one and the decal on this one. Okay, I'm just going to get the coat of resin on this one, and then I'm going to go ahead and decal them both at the same time rather than resin one, decal one. That way I'll get them both back to the same state of done. So I'm giving this one a coat of KS Resin Liquidy Split Ultra UV. That way it'll be ready quicker. And I didn't seal the other one at all, and it seemed to be okay, so I am not sealing this one either. This did sit overnight, though. It's now the next day, so. The other one I resined the same day, though, and it didn't seem to be a problem. So, hopefully I'm doing it right. Make sure you get the inside of the handle, the outside of the handle, underneath the handle. Handled cups seem intimidating at first, but I promise you they're really not that bad, especially when you're not doing a glitter application. Something like this where it's just going on smooth is pretty easy. So, don't be afraid to try them out. Alright, so that is coated. I'm going to take my glove off quick and give it a quick torch. Just a quick once around for bubbles. I'm not trying to get the resin moving or anything. Okay, so I will be back when this one's dry, and we will get decals on both of them. Okay, the next step for this one is I need to do a paint burst to put the decal on. I just sealed my water slide for it. It's getting this decal, and I'll show you again when I get it inside later. But it's getting that decal, and I printed that on clear water slide paper, so I need a spot for this to show. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over it with this beach glass blue first, because that's a pretty good match to this cup. And I have this little messy spot here where it either got chipped or a little overspray, so I'm going to use that spot. But I'm going to do this upside down. If you're nervous about your spacing, you can measure your decal This is difficult outside. But you can measure your decal. Like if I did a 4-inch by, let's say 3.5, it would be good for that one. So this is just a dry erase marker. But if I measure on my cup a little bit outside the parameters of that, it'll show me where I need to get my burst inside. So somewhere in that box is the minimum amount of space I need to fill. So first I'm going to spray on my blue. And I forgot that the last time I used this blue, it actually cracked, so if you go a little outside your box, it's okay. Yeah. It is going to run a little bit. It'll be fine. I'll clean it up anyways. But I can't even see my screen. It is so freaking bright today. So let that sit and dry a little bit, and then we'll go on to the white. I'm actually just going to hold it in my hand and see which of these whites is a good white. And I'm actually just going to go right over it. The base layer is just so when I clean up my edges, if some of it shows through, it'll be fine. So I'm going to let that dry, and then I'll do another coat of white. And then we'll go inside and I'll show you how to clean it up, because this does need another coat of resin before I go on to the water slide. Otherwise the edges of the water slide will show. Okay, I am ready to get this patina cup finished up. I printed and cut some white water slides on my Cricut. These did start out with more leaves. I did a separate video on the ceiling. I will put the link to that down below. This is BLINGASM brand. Oh my goodness. Inkjet white. I found this one on Amazon. I do like this paper. I find this one to be maybe a little more expensive, but it does work pretty well. So I have these 5 little slides I'm going to put on this tumbler. I am going to apply as if you were right-handed. So I'm actually going to do the other side first, because I feel like this one's more delicate, the other side. So I'm going to soak it in water. This is just lukewarm water. I have a silicone brush, and I am actually going to get the tumbler a little damp while the water slide soaks. Let me see if I can get that in frame a little bit. So I'm going to get the tumbler a little damp while the water slide is soaking. And hopefully the fact that my water is not warm won't be too much of a problem. I'm actually going to go ahead and start the others soaking as well. The florals anyways. So I was super excited. My Cricut actually worked today for print and cut. Finally. I've been trying to get these printed for a couple weeks now, literally. So my slide is loosened up, and I'm already folding them over. So I am just going to slip that on there, get the paper out from underneath, figure out how I want it positioned. And I'm going to use the silicone brush to, you have to be careful with your water slides. Don't push them too hard. Use my silicone brush to get any water out from underneath. I'm also going to blot it with a dry paper towel. don't see any bubbles or anything, so that should be good. One of these I'm going to put on the bottom. I was actually upset with myself for a minute because I thought I'd lost one. They're not quite ready to slide. I thought I had lost one of them, and I was like, oh no, two's not going to cut it because I wanted one for the bottom. So this one's ready to slide off. And I did just rip that one a little bit. My own fault. I actually, when I cut these, I thought all of the leaves on the image were attached, and turned out they weren't. So I'm surprised these ones actually didn't come apart in the first place. So I'm just going to get it placed back about where it belongs. And I'm going to grab a dry paper towel, since I used that one to wet my cup. So I'm going to go ahead and throw this last one in. These would release much quicker in warm water, just so you know. As you're blotting it, be careful not to slide it too much. So there's that little one. And I'm going to put, I wanted to do the other two little ones first, but I think I'm going to have to go ahead and do my antler next, just to get my placement down. So, and this one I'm going to have to be extra careful with. You see it's got that little dangly leaf. So I'm going to hold it in the water a little bit. I'm going to get that wet paper towel and get the whole thing damp again. I think. And get it started. I should be okay. This one's just super delicate. I really need a little pair of tweezers, and I didn't grab any. Just gotta get it unfolded again. See, I knew that one little leaf was gonna come off again, but that's quite alright. There. That one flipped over too in a second here. When you do a delicate one like this, I'd actually have been better off probably mirroring and applying it upside down like a tattoo. Just because this is a fairly delicate image. And I do have a little piece folded under there, I believe. So let me see if I can sneak that out. There we go. So, let me flip this little guy over too, if I'm thinking of it. If I can. There. Now it's all going the right direction. So, if I think I've got my placement about right, and I do, I'm going to go ahead and blot this. I'm going to fix that leaf in a minute. This does not want to stay rolled over on either side. There. And I'm going to scoot this leaf up in here. There, looks good to me. This one's folded on itself also. Okay. Good enough. Except I just made my leaf shift again. If you're more comfortable letting each slide dry in between, do it that way. I just prefer to get them all on and then let the entire thing dry. I did lose a little bit of my color right there when I bent that over. If I really wanted to, I can touch that up. Yeah, and I'm not even showing you. I did lose a little tiny bit of my color. If I wanted to, I could touch that up with some alcohol ink. And I may do that. Grab a tiny, tiny brush and a little bit of brown. So, I'm going to come back over here. I'm going to grab one of the little florals and just drop it on. No fanfare with this one. Wherever it lands, it lands. And I'm just going to give it a blot. Good enough. Fair enough. And I'm going to grab my last little floral one, and I'm going to drop it right here next to the handle. I did fold a tiny piece over, so I just flipped it back to get that piece back. And this green leaf needs to get flipped. There we go. So, I am going to double check everything. Make sure there's no major creases. Straighten this one back out since I just biffed it up a little bit. And I'm going to let this one sit and dry until all these water slides are completely adhered and dried well. And then I will come back in and get a coat of epoxy on it. And I'm going to grab the other one, the bigger one, and finish that one up as well. Alright, I am ready to clean this cup up. I'm going to show you part of it, maybe not all of it. I did end up with quite a little bit of a mess, but it'll be fine. We got a little measuring cup that I'm going to put some acetone in. I like to use this one, nail polish remover from Walmart. This one's my favorite. You can get it other places. I just generally pick it up there. So, this is the decal that's going on this. This is a water slide that I sealed. And I'm just going to kind of roughly mark out where I'm going to put this, because I have a lot to clean off. And I want to make sure I don't do too much, but I want to make sure I get enough at the same time. So I'm going to try and avoid all of this messiness. So I'm going to start about here. And here. And obviously I'm going to take a little bit off the top. And here. And I may dry fit it a couple more times. I know I told you that you have to put another coat on, but I may break my own rules and add my water slide when I'm done cleaning this up. So I'm going to dip a piece of a t-shirt actually in the acetone, and I am just going to start cleaning. I usually keep several pieces of a t-shirt handy. I find t-shirts work the best, so I just find they work better than any other kind of rag for this process. So I'm going to keep turning it, and I'm going to make sure I get any overspray off of the back and whatnot. I don't bother wearing gloves when I do this because the acetone will eat right through the gloves. So don't even bother. Do keep in mind that there is some blue paint under this white paint, and that's also going to start to show through, and that's okay. Remember, I picked a blue that was very, very close to what I had going on anyways. So, and your hands are going to get messy. It's just part of the process. But like I said, don't bother with gloves. They're not going to get you anywhere. So, I don't recommend doing this with your water slide applied, or even with it sitting on the backing on the cup. I may dry fit it and touch a couple places up with it sitting there, but it's going to be very, very minimal. Again, I am checking for any of that overspray while I do this. That was just a dry erase marker, so it's going to be fairly easy to just wipe off. I don't want the corners to look like sharp corners. So, mess them up a little bit. You can come down to the blue a little bit here and there. I do want that big bubble that I had removed. And I am going to go ahead and grab a fresh piece of t-shirt at this point, because I do still have quite a bit to remove, and you do get to the point where you just start leaving residue right back where you didn't want it. So I'm just going to scruff up the bottom a bit, because now I'm in that bubble where I wanted it. I'm going to get a clean piece of t-shirt to remove the rest of that residue. So, just going to clean up around that edge again. I have one little hair of my own or my dog's that I keep picking up and sticking back down. Okay. And one little piece of t-shirt lint that I need to get back off of there. There we go. Nope, that lint is still there. We're back again. So, I'm going to turn it back the right way. It's trying to sit a minute, but I'm going to stand back up. If you want to come in with Q-tips or something and clean up more, you can. But I am pretty okay with this where it's at. I'm just going to go around the edge again. I'm actually going to roll the whole cup around and make sure there's no icky bits or paint smudged. So that's where that's at. Without sticking it, I'm going to double check this, and I think that's about perfect. So I'm going to let this sit and let the rest of that acetone evaporate back off of here. And I am going to go ahead and not do as I say. And I'm going to get this applied so you can see it. Okay, I'm ready to get the water slide on this one. So I'm going to drop it in my warm water. And this water is pretty warm, so it's probably going to release relatively quick. I'm going to get this wet. I do have a silicone brush ready. I get these at the Dollar Tree, Amazon, AliExpress. A lot of the glitter suppliers carry them, so pretty much anywhere you can pick these up. And that is already released because that was so warm. And I kind of figured it was going to do that very, very fast. So it's on there. I'm going to get my silicone brush wet. And I'm going to squeegee over it to push any air bubbles out gently. You don't want to rip your water slide or end up getting all the way back through your sealer and screwing it up in any way. So, just feeling it out there. I can see a little water bubble underneath. I'm going to grab a dry rag and blot over the top also. Peel that back off and give it a look. And there you go. How cute is that? The little turquoise truck with sunflowers, country roads take me home. I'm going to let the water slide dry for a bit. Make sure there's no water underneath it before you put your epoxy on. That is a crucial step. This cup does have a little bit of a taper that starts pretty high up. So I am just double checking. But I'm going to let it dry and get it on a turner and get a coat of epoxy over it. So that's it for this one. And the other patina one is ready for his epoxy as well. And that is it. I will be back with resin. Alright, I am ready to finish up these patina cups. This one is slipping a little bit. It's just because of the weight of the handle. It is going to continue to spin. This is also my worst turner that I pulled out of retirement because I actually have more cups than normal spinning tonight. So I'm just going to go ahead and get the resin on it. It shouldn't actually stop spinning. It's just going to fight itself. I actually saw a thing about offsetting the weight by taping, by putting a roll of electrical tape or something on the arm. And if I can dig out a roll that's not almost empty, I may actually try that. But the roll that I know where it is right now has so little tape on it that I'm not sure it would make a difference. But I promise you, it looks funny spinning, but it is okay. So make sure you get around the handle. Top and bottom, in and out. And I'm just going to make sure that none of these slides are folded in any way. They all look good, and the bottom one looks good, so that one's coated. I'm going to scoot it out of the way a little bit and try and get this one back in frame. So this is that 20-ounce one. And I have to make sure that handle's not going to tap this one when it drops. Okay. And I will take you down for a close-up on these in a minute. smoothing it out. Alright, I get my glove off so I don't get my phone yucky. I'm gonna torch real quick with what little butane is left in my torch. And these may need a second coat tomorrow, but it'll just be a clear coat. It's not going to change the appearance of them in any way. And I have a little piece of glitter that's straight on top of there. Actually, I have several little pieces of glitter, but you know what? It is what it is. And hopefully the rest of the bubbles continue to pop on their own because my torch is empty. So, I'm going to bring you down. Country roads take me home. And here we are. I'm going to try and get that chunky glitter off of there. Or at least not right over the gold part, because it did look funny sitting there. But there's, you know what, quite a few pieces of glitter in here, and I'm not going to worry about it. If it sparkles here and there, it sparkles here and there. And here is this one with the little antler and the flowers. And again, it's going to turn funny, but it is fine, I assure you. I do need to get a glove on and smooth out that one spot I just saw. It's just going to turn faster on that rotate down and a little slower on the rotate up. But it will catch itself. So, and the little decal on the bottom. This is how the bottom of this one came out. And that is it for them.